easy, and healthy. That's the goal for our nutrition segment today.
To see if we could find something like that, we consulted one of the nation's top organic chefs.
Jessie Kuhl is an organic food pioneer, prolific author, and owner of several organic restaurants in the San Francisco Bay Area. So Judy was delighted to learn about a very tasty, very simple, all-organic pasta recipe.
We're doing a one-pot, 7-ingredient recipe, and this is the basis, really, for anyone who doesn't cook to get back in the kitchen.
Oh, great.
And we use this with little kids and with student teachers at Stanford, and even with when I'm teaching classes to people who, you know, there's that thing of I'm afraid to cook again.
As much as possible, Jessie uses ingredients from her garden, harvested with the help of friends like 15-year-old Austin Green. Jessie told me that bringing garden freshness to the dinner table is easier than we might think.
I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. And remember, these students come 4 times a year. And by the 3rd time, rather than thinking it's me that's doing magic, they realize it's because we're using very simple organic ingredients with very few other items to make them taste good. I'm going to add onions because you can always get onions and they're not very expensive. So I'm just going to do the onions and garlic and olive oil and let that simmer, and you know, this will bring anybody into your kitchen anyway.
Yes, it will.
So this is just kind of the seductive part. We'll just let that get a little softened. And in the meantime, I'll chop a little cabbage because that's what we picked today in the garden. All Austin found in the garden today were herbs, a little bit of onion tops and garlic tops, so we picked those. And so that's what goes into our pasta today. Something that seduces most people, number one, is onions, garlic on pasta, and then a little bit of cheese. So with this 7-10 ingredient recipe, the basic 7 are there, but we do add an onion, a little garlic if you want, organic pasta, and cheese. And that helps kids take one bite of something, because if you put a little cheese on the pasta next to the vegetables, that maybe they'll somehow get a little bit of that vegetable on the pasta and the cheese. So let it simmer a little bit, let that melt so you get all the wonderful flavors. So one of the, since we're talking about kids or even adults who say they don't eat something, it's opening that opportunity of not just taste this because I'm making you taste it, but something inside them says, I want to taste it. I picked it. I grew it. I'm close to it. I cooked it. My kids love to cook with me. All right, so now I'm just going to put the broccoli in. I actually cooked the broccoli ahead of time. I blanched it in a little bit of boiling water. Always salt last, because if you salt first, then it's going to absorb the salt rather than just use it for seasoning. The reason I add the herbs and spices at the end is because I want that full flavor. I want the salt. I want the tasty olive oil. I don't want it muddled inside the vegetable. I don't want to lose it. I'm just going to warm up a little bit of the pasta. And Italians know you're supposed to put a little pasta water in there, so don't drain it completely. And now I'm going to add my salt and pepper. Okay. And I'm going to put a little more olive oil in, like I mentioned, because we sauteed, but we want to taste the olive oil. A little bit of cheese. Okay. This, to me, tastes so healthy. Simple.
Oh my God, it's yummy.
Very simple, isn't it? I mean, this isn't exotic food. It isn't the food that...
No, I think
this is everyday, healthy, good food that people can relate to. It's not rocket science. It gets them back in the kitchen.
That looked really good, Judy. How long did it take to make?
Actually, not that long. The longest part was boiling the water for the pasta. But while that was happening, she was sauteing the veggies and all the herbs and getting all that ready. So by the time the pasta was finished and put it together, I think it was about 20 minutes.
Oh, that's fantastic. And the other thing that seems so good about that dish, it sounds pretty inexpensive.
It was, and she was using all organic ingredients, and it was under $15, I think. So that's
for a main
that's
course.
Great. Yes,
that's
for a main
amazing.
course, it was great.